The video is called The Hidden Lore Behind FF7's Summons, and now since we're playing FF7, I do kind of want to learn a little bit more about it. The video is by Last Elixir Productions, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. These summons are not spoilers to me because I did play the game once a while ago, so I do know some of them, but today we're gonna learn a little bit more about them. Let me know what your favorite summon is, if you have one in FF7 or in any of the Final Fantasy games if you haven't played 7 yet, but who hasn't, right? On that note, we're gonna start watching. Are you ready? We're not ready because we're listening to music still. There we go. Alright, here we go. Final Fantasy 7? Good, I'm not in the wrong video.
You'll know that summons, or espers, are an integral part of the game's plot. Likewise, FF8's Guardian Forces and FF9's Eidolons are critical to each entry's world and lore. It's a bit odd then that FF7 makes no real effort to incorporate these magical monsters
Makes no
into
real
its
effort?
world-building. The red materia used to call them forth are, like every other orb in the game, distillations of the planet's knowledge and memories. But that tells us little in the way of what these creatures are and where they come from.
That's actually
What's
true.
more, FF7 is the only mainline Final Fantasy game that features summonable monsters but never pits players against one. With so much focus on human drama and the broader themes of life, loss, and acceptance, you could forgive FF7 for scrubbing summons from the plot. But as it turns out, an earlier iteration of the game did make an attempt
is that
to give these
Phoenix?
beasts some backstory.
I don't think I had that one.
To find it, we'll have to visit the Mural Chamber, which lies at the heart of the Temple of the Ancients. It's here that Sephiroth fully explains his ambitions and the tool with which he intends to achieve them. Meteor, an ancient spell of unimaginable destruction. The paintings on the room's walls portend its casting and the ruin that will result should the black materia fall into the wrong person's hands.
Oh.
Still unaware of his role in Sephiroth's scheme,
I never
Cloud
paid
finds
attention
himself
to
on the edge
that.
of a mental breakdown, but manages to pull out of it. Not long after, the room begins to shake violently. Cloud shouts Sephiroth's name, suspecting he's the source of the tremors, but Sephiroth says otherwise. We then launch into a battle against the Red Dragon, which may or may not prove a total pushover. Upon defeating it, we return to the Mural Chamber.
Okay,
There,
I
a
think we're
shiny
gonna see that
prize
today.
awaits us, the Bahamut Summon materia. At first glance, this
Spoilers?
sequence doesn't stick out too much, but closer examination raises some questions. Why all the build-up before this random mini-boss? Isn't it just a palette swap of the dragon enemy in Nibelheim? And why does Sephiroth seem so amused when it appears, as though we're in for some big, unexpected challenge? Like so many of FF7's minor mysteries, the answer lies in unused text. As it happens, Sephiroth originally
Wait, back when the ancients... where is this text? Back when the ancients still flourished, there existed a race of beings raised amid the glow of abundant Mako. Oh, this is Sephiroth's text. What the hell? They were pure monsters, beasts of natural form. A handful remain even to this day. Certain among them would seal their life force within orbs of materia. Oh, so they're like, I don't want to say titans, but like demigods, altering their existence for eternity. Summon materia, precisely clever girl. Beings who protect this temple are relics of a deep past, monsters that have weathered eons since the time of the ancients. They are a race far more worthy of this planet than yourselves. So they're like, I would say like gods or demigods. Am I understanding that right when it comes to summons?
had a lot more to say about the upcoming encounter. Back before the ancients were decimated by Genova
okay, he
and
does
their
say
civilization
that.
dwindled,
I never
another
pay
race of
attention to
beings
this in
existed alongside them. They were pure monsters of natural form that grew up bathed in the light of Mako.
Contrast this with FF7's run-of-the-mill monsters, which are all said to be byproducts of Shinra's process Mako. Oh, okay.
At a certain point, some of these beasts would seal their life force in orbs of materia, altering themselves for eternity. Aerith is quick to catch on to what Sephiroth is saying. The monsters in question are none other than summons. According to Sephiroth, the enemies guarding the temple are beasts who've endured since the time of the ancients, crystallized forever in the form of materia. They're far more fit to inhabit the planet than our lowly protagonists. Sephiroth leaves off with a vague warning of the danger we're about to face, after which we're thrown into battle as usual. With this added context, you may now notice the relief on the far wall of the battle arena doesn't look a whole lot like the Red Dragon. If anything, it looks more like Bahamut, Final Fantasy's flagship dragon summon. And indeed, it's Bahamut's summon materia we receive at the end of the battle. The implication seems to be that the enemy we just faced is a summon. We think it's reasonable to conclude this boss battle initially would have featured Bahamut instead of the Red Dragon.
So why is it Red
Development
Dragon?
Constraints led to a simple palette swap being used instead. Had this been the case, FF7 would have maintained the series' tradition of battling at least one summonable monster. Incidentally, Bahamut is one of only 3 summon materia implied to drop from an enemy. Maybe you can recall the others. The first is Ffvii,
I've
which
never
appears
had
on
this
the floor
many.
of the cargo ship after beating Genova Immersion, aka Genova Birth, aka Genova's right arm. The second
You're wondering why these materia aren't directly awarded on the battle results screen? It's because FF7 doesn't have a system for doing so. Since the material list has a limited number of slots, there's a chance that forcing materia into the player's inventory will overwrite another one. Oh shit, really? How is it that you can then get Red's weapon at the end of the Cosmo Canyon story? Wouldn't that be the same thing? Wouldn't you overwrite the weapon? Or so why materia never granted via steal, morph, or enemy drops? That's kind of interesting. I didn't know that.
Second is Alexander, which you get after defeating the Snow Woman on the Great Glacier. It might be tempting to read into these examples, but we should note that materia placement in FF7 wasn't always the subject of deep deliberation. According to scenario writer Kazushige Nojima, there were so many to include that planners eventually just started plopping summon materia down willy-nilly. But let's return to that scrap speech in the mural chamber. While it answers some burning questions about the flow of the final scene, it raises just as many more. Namely, why is Sephiroth the one to deliver this lore dump? Why does he care about the nature of summons? And why does he think they're worthier of the planet than humans like Cloud? Recall that Sephiroth was himself raised amid the glow of abundant Mako. Unlike summons, however, which are pure monsters of natural form, Sephiroth was created artificially. His exposure to Mako was mediated by humans, and so to him would represent something shameful and unclean. This changed, however, when Sephiroth fell into the Mount Nebel reactor. Instead of dissolving into the lifestream along with his flesh, Sephiroth's will persisted and steeped itself in the unadulterated flow of Mako. When, after some time, Sephiroth began to reassemble his body, he did so inside a giant crystal of energy, what FF7's early development documents call the ultimate materia. It's no wonder then why Sephiroth might feel some kinship.
I'm starting to actually understand what the game is about.
They represent the sort of pure natural monster he could never be, until he died and was reborn, that is. The uncut mural chamber also goes some way to explain Sephiroth's strange connection with Bahamut in the compilation and remake trilogy. Speaking of which, it's interesting to see how this scrapped lore from the Temple of the Ancients holds up with later entries in the franchise. Like the OG, Remake and Rebirth are light on details when it comes to summons. Chadley offers some intel on each creature, including a rundown of local legends, but never answers fundamental questions about why and how they came to be summoned. The most pivotal lore we get might come from Shiva's bestiary entry in FF7 Remake. Evidently, this summon takes the form of a queen from ages past who once staunched the planet's wound with ice. As a result, its northern reaches remain covered in permafrost. There's no doubt this refers to the injury inflicted by Genova's arrival 2 months. There's no as a result.
This slightly contradicts the OG, where Ifalna says the nose pole is barren and cold because all the surrounding spiritual energy is being used to heal the planet's wound. Okay, but for Shiva it says, an ice elemental entity and ruler over the world of ice, it is said that she once saved the planet from certain destruction by staunching a great wound with a glacier.
Its northern reaches remain covered in permafrost. There's no doubt this refers to the injury inflicted by Genova's arrival 2 millennia ago.
Okay.
We know that the task of healing the planet's wound was undertaken by the Cetra still alive at that time. It would follow then that they enlisted Ffvii's aid to avert the world's destruction.
She's actually
This sounds
mega
similar
important.
to whatever deal they struck with summons to protect the black materia in the OG. And indeed, Rebirth makes a nod to Sephiroth's scrapped speech in intel entries for the enemies that prowl the Temple of the Ancients. However, it's clear these beasts aren't summons. Rather, they're creatures the Cetra saved from extinction and bred to serve as sentinels. The Red Dragon, for its part, is described as an enormous worm that's sworn itself to guarding the temple's halls. It's hard to predict if Part 3 of the remake trilogy will reveal anything more on this matter. With so much other content to cover, it seems likely summons will remain a minor part of FF7's plot. But for those who've had their fill of primals, astrals, and icons, that might not be a bad thing. Thanks for watching this video, and extra thanks to all our wonderful backers.
It's really difficult to come up with new things to talk about for a game that's been out for so long. And, you know, this video is, let me tell you, this video is 1 month old. So that means that someone made a video that, you know, that talks about something that presumably everyone knows about. But I really do like the comments that people leave. Because there's actually some relevant information that people don't get to hear a lot. Listen to this. Want to say this channel really stands out from the channel of regurgitated content that typifies most video game analysis channels. Really impressed with the work and original research that goes into these. So today it's really easy to just be bored with something that's already been seen or heard or whatever. So I think that's a really, really good thing. And look at this. People actually commenting on new information from this video. What I like about the involvement of Ffvii in healing the northern crater is that Genova's appearance as a grayish-blue woman during the Mount Nimble reactor Ffvii could be a result of the alien trying to shapeshift into Ffvii before ending up frozen. I don't recall if they outright state anywhere in the game that Genova was unearthed frozen, but I do remember them mentioning the organism was a stasis. Ffvii, as, you know, the commander of ice, is actually such a convenient summon here because she can participate in basically freezing, you know, freezing enemies, freezing whoever, putting people in stasis or whatever. So it kind of makes sense that she's a little bit of a part of it. Like, listen to this. People actually coming to like new, conclusions. It never occurred to me that Sephiroth is basically himself and Espero summoned by the end of the game. Yeah, since he was essentially created by Mako, essentially a summon, right? Now we have what is this? Always liked that after Yuffie defeats her father, she's presented with the materia to summon a Leviathan, who was explained earlier to be the guardian spirit of Wutai. Not part of the main plot, but a good summon-related lore. I did not know about this. That's a bit of a spoiler right now, but that's fine. You have the best FF7 content on the internet, in my opinion, or whatever else. This channel is actually getting a lot of praise, and this video is a result of a lot of research. So if you're not subscribed to Last Elixir Productions, do make sure to do so. Lots of useful info here, and honestly, it's kind of making me excited to go and play the game and actually collect the summons, which is what we've been doing. So we're gonna go and play the game. Do subscribe, like the original video, watch it, and all that good stuff. And yeah, now let's go play the game.